The channel is The Mire the Merrier, and I'm Jacqueline, and this is Steve. And we are a family of 5 that left the United States for Koh Samui, Thailand in August of 2023. We're still here, and we've started this YouTube channel to share with our friends and people that we don't know things that may be helpful if they want to move abroad, move to Koh Samui, or travel with their children. So the video that you're about to see today is just one in a series of our leaving Koh Samui to go on a vacation with our children in October of 2024, October just a month ago, to go to Japan.
She says I don't smile enough.
That's right. He doesn't smile enough. So if anybody wants to get a feel for what it's like to fly out of Suvarnabhumi Airport, obviously you're...
EKK.
Yep. If you're coming into Thailand, you arrive there, you go through immigration. That all works out fine. But let's say you're getting ready to go back home, whether it's the United States or any other country, and you just want to familiarize yourself a little bit with Bangkok Suvarnabhumi Airport. I think this video will probably help you do that a little bit too, just so that you have that comfort level. It's not a very long one. Take a peek. Please subscribe to the channel, The Mire the Merrier, and like if you have a chance. Thanks so much. I am standing inside Suvarnabhumi Airport and just taking a little spin. When you arrive at the airport in the United States, you would go to whatever airline's door you were flying. In this case, you can enter in any door, but you do need to look at that departures screens. For example, if you look at that top line, the 710 flight that goes to Samui, you'll see that there are several airlines that code share that flight. If you look at this closer, you can see that the words are in Thai and in English. If you go over to the right and find the column in blue, it will show you D and E, and those are the aisles that you can go down to find your check-in for that flight. In our case, that departure screen told us that we needed to check in B/C. So we just walked over between B and C, and you can see the letters up there in the big yellow sign. The kiosks, if you take a closer look, will be available for several different airlines. So where in the United States, you would just go to American Airlines if you wanted to check in on American. Here, you can check in for many airlines on these particular kiosks. So you go ahead and put your airline in, you put your passport on the passport slot, it will read it, and then eventually, after you answer the questions, your boarding pass will come out in the larger tray, and then your bag tag will come out in that tray to the right. You go ahead and take those over to the bag drop there on the left.
Okay, international departures. You do have to go upstairs, not to be mistaken for the ticket office in the bank. All right, just taking a look here, you can see international departures. And we're going to have our boarding passes out to get through here.
There's a little kind of a barcode, QR code, something like that on your boarding pass. And in order to get up the stairs to international departures, you have to scan that. Now, Steve, Ryan, and Janie were fine. Maggie and I, Janie and I had some problems with the scanner, but there was a woman standing right there. She brought it to a different scanner, and that scanner worked fine. So again, up the escalator, then you go through kind of like the TSA, the security, and it's a pretty nice security. And you have to do the ones where your hand go up there, and they do the body scan. Computer came out, shoes stayed on, and yeah, the computer was the only thing that we needed to take out of the backpack, so that was fine. And this, I don't know that it's ever happened before, but we didn't get stopped with anything. Nobody had a water or anything like that in their bag. And then after we went through security, we then went down another escalator, and then that is where some kind of an immigration, passport control, whatever. And this is, I think, where if you overstay your visa, that's where you end up getting stopped. And once again, you open up your passport and you put it on this screen, and it takes a minute, but it'll read your passport and it'll let you through. All 3 kids went through just fine, but Steve and I both failed, and then I tried again after the kids were done, and I failed again. So I think Steve thinks that maybe we were putting it on the screen wrong, but I put the kids on the screen and I was able to do it right. Now they have a newer style passport than we do, and we also just signed up today for this I don't know, signed up is the right word. We accepted that we would be biometrically scanned at the airport. So I think it might be just a way to make sure that the biometric scanner works because the passport was verified by an actual person. But we stopped short of going directly to our gate because here what ends up happening is that you're in this area that's got a lot of little shops and those sorts of things. But it gets to a point where as you get closer to your gate, there is another gate that's like an actual gate where you can't go down to your gate until an hour before the flight. And we know that. And so instead of just sitting where it's really boring and you're just standing there, we are waiting where it's a little busier portion of the airport. So there's more to eat and drink here, and there are washrooms around. And about an hour before our flight leaves, we will head over, and at that point, an hour before the flight, they'll go ahead and open that entry gate. Evidence that we are on the right track. So this is where we go down to D2. And you can see it says Thai Airways to Tokyo, although it's peculiar to me that it doesn't say which Tokyo airport. And you can see when my family passes that it's gated off right now. You're not allowed to go in. Margaret? Yep. So everyone's just waiting outside, and we're still a little early for the flight. All right, we had Ryan on the lookout to see when the boarding area was open, and it is in fact gate open now. So you can see that, and see, I've seen it where they've checked boarding passes to get down here, but for some reason that's not happening today. So that's fine. This is what the airport looks like from the inside. I guess that must be these are generally wide body planes, stuff with 2 aisles. So you can go down here and then go down some steps, or you can go down, if you're rolling luggage, you can go down a ramp the whole way, but you go from an above spot, and there's a bunch of seats. Steve likes to get close to the front, and then the 2 lanes to get in. Alright, we're in boarding group 4.
Dear passengers,
Now
thank you for
they're
waiting.
announcing that.
All remaining passengers,
So I think
please board
this
at this
is
time.
the
Please
first
be
time we've
reminded
ever
that your boarding
been the
passes
last to board on a plane.
will be issued
Usually we get pulled to the front because of the kids being little. And they're not that little anymore. Before I leave the country, I take out my XE currency exchange rate app on my phone. I take a look at the amount of money I might want to take out of an ATM when I get there, and I also take a look at the exchange rate. We had a pretty nice in-flight entertainment system. Now, it was a 6-hour flight. The children's tickets were about $570 and the adult tickets were about $700. So we landed at Narita's airport, and we flew Thai Airways, which is a really great airline. So when you took a look at maybe the lunch didn't look so great, but it really did taste
I don't
tasted
even
great.
remember what it was.
Well, there's a picture, but it looks kind of great. But it really did taste great. So we landed at Tokyo's Narita Airport. They don't really like you to use any kind of recordings going through security and all of that sort of thing. But when you land at an international airport, what you'll see typically are signs for transfers and signs for immigration. So if you're using this airport just as simply a way to get from one plane to another, obviously they're just a transfer. You don't have to go outside at all. You don't have to go into Japan, but you do have to go through another security in order to go through the airport typically. In our case, we were not transferring. We were actually going through immigration because our final destination in this particular case was Tokyo. So you don't, as an American citizen, and I'm not sure, this may not be true of all people. There are, different countries have different rules. But for American citizens, you do not need to get a visa for a short trip into Japan like we were taking. And we were going to be there for about, I think, 10 days.
Yeah.
So no need to get a visa. It's not sort of a rubber stamp that goes in your passport. There's actually a little it's like a sticker that goes into your airport. That's your arrival stamp, and then they just stamp you out on the way out. But it was a simple way to get through the immigration. We were able to get through. We knew that we were going to a specific rail stop in order to get to our hotel. Our hotel in this case was Ibis Styles in Tokyo Bay. And if you look on their website, in most cases you're going to be able to find this on the website of your hotel. It will tell you what is the nearest train stop. So I knew what the nearest train stop was, and then we didn't really know exactly what train we needed to get. But I'll show a picture of the card. Basically, we just got out. We got on the JR lines. The train system in Japan is amazing. We were going to stay in Kyoto for kind of 2 hotel stops, and I thought since the second stop was about a half an hour out of town, we might need to get a Grab or rent a car. It was actually very close to a convention center, and we were able to just take.
The train stopped right at the hotel.
We got very good at negotiating the whole train. So I would definitely say public transportation is really the way to go. I know some people sometimes use the buses if there are better bus stops, but in our case, we felt very lucky to be able to use the train very effectively. Please like and subscribe.
Thanks for watching, and look for more videos of our family trip to Japan.